So Brendan, I guess we as Westerners have been taught that what you went through was really a process of radicalisation. You were becoming a radical. Is that how you think about it either then or now?
No, absolutely not. No, of course not.
So you don't think you were being radicalised?
Well, I wouldn't I wouldn't term it radicalised. You know, I don't think that term is helpful. I think it actually leads people away from what's really going on.
Okay, unpack that a little bit. So in the West, we're all told that Islam is not the problem, but it's people being radicalised out of Islam into wanting to blow people up. To put it simply, effectively, you went from being a very peaceful Muslim to wanting to blow people up. How is that not radicalisation?
Well, look, that is radicalisation. If you start at it, just like if you say something's on the right or on the left. On the right of what? On the left of what? A radical version of something. So if you can find what Islam actually is, and then you go to the far right or the far left, that would be a radical version of it. What I went from an incorrect understanding of what Islam was to a correct understanding. That's not radicalisation. Do you understand? That's not me being radicalised. That's me having a true understanding of what Islam actually taught. Now, that would seem radical. The teachings of Islam, the true teachings of Islam, would seem radical to many, many people. But that is not the way that I view it. If you look at, for example, the stories of people that are committing acts of violence, terrorism here in the West at the moment, in Europe or in Australia or England recently, people always say that they were radicalised. Those people were radicalised. And I think what people perceive by that word radicalised is that they were somehow brainwashed. They were attacked, if you like, and surrounded by a group of evil, dark people that got them from their happy, good life, their understanding of Islam, which the West thinks is wonderful. The Muhammad was a lovely guy and Islam means peace. And they radically messed with their head through coercion, through certain methods, and they messed them up so much that they came out of it with this horribly distorted view of Islam, wherein you kill people that disagree with you, you go and murder fellow Muslims who don't see things the way you do. And that's simply not the case. That is not what happens. I am brought up as a Muslim in Australia from a Turkish family, from a Lebanese family, from a Somalian family, and there's certain folk practices, you know, simple superstitions and understandings of Islam that I'm brought up with. Exactly the same in a Christian family where people don't really know what Christianity actually teaches. Now, you're brought up in that religion. Your mum always tells you that Muhammad was a great guy, so you say, well, Muhammad was a great guy. Your grandpa teaches you that Islam's very, very peaceful, so you say, Islam's very peaceful. That's your understanding of Islam. You've got it from your family, you've got it from the people around you. You haven't read the texts. You don't know what Muhammad actually said. You don't really know anything about Islam, like my ex-wife. They're brought up with a particular understanding of Islam. Radicalisation is when a man who does know what Islam teaches says to you, let me run through what Islam actually teaches. No, this did not happen. No, this is not the right thing to do. Yes, this is praiseworthy. When you start to see it the same way that he does, that is termed radicalisation, but it's actually not radicalisation.
So it's a little bit like, to use an analogy, moving from pseudo-cultural Christianity, where Christianity just simply means, being a Christian means being a good person, to actually understanding who Jesus was, what he taught, and what he calls us to be and to do.
So I think of an analogy that Christians may understand is the Reformers in the time of the Reformation. They came along and they said to someone, you're believing in purgatory, you're doing this with the church, you know, there's all these Catholic practices, you're getting down on your knees and walking down the street to go on pilgrimages to different shrines of saints and those kinds of things. That's not Christianity. you shouldn't be doing those things. And they said, well, why shouldn't I be doing those things? And they said, well, have you read the Bible? None of that is contained in the Bible. So the guy says, whoa, and he becomes a Protestant. Now, I'm not saying that the Catholic is correct or the Protestant is correct. What I'm saying is you have one understanding of Christianity that you've learnt from the Catholic Church. If a Protestant comes along and converts you to the Protestant faith, the Catholic is going to think you've become a radical. But from a Protestant perspective, you're not becoming a radical, you're just starting to practice Christianity as it truly is.